Hi everybody, how's it going? So I'm here today. I'm just doing a little quick video for you, just going over and discussing how I've got on with shooting for the past year or so with Samyang Lenses. I started with Sony in my wedding season last year, and then I introduced Samyang Lenses into my kit as well, and obviously I shot the whole of my wedding season last year with Samyang Lenses. This year, obviously, with everything that's gone on, it hasn't gone to plan, so I haven't done a lot this year, but I've still done a little bit. So I'm going to go over sort of what I think about the lenses, what the lenses have done for my shooting, how good the image quality is, etc, etc. I'm not going to go all in technical wise. I'm not a technical minded person. I'm just one of them people where I want the right equipment that works for me and gives me the results that I want. So I'm basically going to explain what they've done for me, how I feel about them, and hopefully it might benefit some of you guys as well. So let's jump straight into it. Right then guys, so I shoot with two Sony A7 IIIs, and my go-to lenses are the Samyang 85mm 1.4 and the Samyang 35mm 1.4. Now, I absolutely love shooting 35 and 85mm. For many years I was a 24 to 70, 70 to 200 shooter. I was getting to that point where I was getting quite complacent and I was struggling to sort of look at the images in the way I wanted to be looking at them, basically getting the results that I was wanting to get. I spoke to another wedding photographer at the time who I thought highly of, and he suggested giving 35 and 85mm primes a try. So obviously previously, back in the Nikon days, I went 35mm, 85mm, and I shot for 2 years, and I absolutely fell in love with those two focal lengths and the way they made me look more at what I was doing and making me move around and actually work a lot harder for the shots that I wanted to get. So obviously then I jumped to Sony, and then I went to the Samyang primes, obviously sticking to 35 and 85mm because it was what I do now and it's what I know. Now when I first went and brought the lenses, the first purchase was the 85mm. Now the 85mm is probably one of the most popular portrait focal lengths there is out there. Pretty much everybody you speak to has either owned an 85mm or they have an 85mm and they absolutely love an 85mm. So that was my go-to lens at first that I wanted purely for shooting the portrait sides of my wedding photography. Now as soon as I got this lens, obviously I've never shot at 1.4 before. I used to shoot 1.8, but I never went any lower than f2. So when I got this lens I was a bit, do I try it? So I went out and I had a trial shoot and I shot the whole shoot at 1.4. When I came back and I uploaded everything into Lightroom, I was absolutely blown away with how sharp the images actually were at 1.4. Now don't get me wrong, I still had soft images in there, I still had images that had missed focus, but it was at 1.4, so to be fair I was going to be expecting that anyway, but I got a far higher hit rate than I was actually expecting. So straight away then I absolutely fell in love with the 85mm, and I thought to myself, I'm going to have to get the 35mm. At the time I got the Tamron 28 to 75, so I replaced that with the Samyang 35mm, and I haven't looked back since. And it's the same sort of scenario with the 35mm. After introducing that into my kit then, it was all out into the wedding season, and I shot all my weddings then 35 and 85mm. And I found myself shooting a lot more wide open than I ever have in my whole career. And since then, I think I shoot more wide open than anything else. I will always shoot pretty much between 1.4 and f2 all day if possible. When I come to groups again, I don't go and open up as much as others do. I'll shoot at f4, f5 for groups. It gives me plenty to work with on the focal plane as long as you've got everybody in the right space. But the biggest thing for me is obviously the ability to shoot at 1.4 and get a decent enough hit rate. Now with the 35mm, same as with the 85mm, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. I still get soft images and I still get images that miss focus. But that being said, I'm still got the ability to shoot at 1.4 and I am still hitting images and still getting focus at 1.4. So that's a big thing for me. especially obviously churches in England, they can be extremely dark, they can be very, very fussy with not allowing flash and things like that, especially registrars are the same. So when you're just relying on natural light and bumping your ISO up, sometimes you don't always want to be doing that. So the ability to shoot at 1.4 and get an accurately sharp image is a game changer, absolute game changer for me. Obviously it does help using Sony bodies and shooting with mirrorless, because obviously the focusing is better on a mirrorless. I have noticed that since I've jumped to them. But as overall equipment, overall pieces of kit, I think the biggest thing is obviously when you've made such a jump to a whole new brand, it's a big expense. Now obviously these two lenses enabled me to keep my costs down. Now straight away, yes, I was very, very vigilant, and I was one of those people where you're a bit skeptical and you think to yourself, oh, so much cheaper than the GM Sony lenses or the Sigma lenses. Are they going to be good enough? My whole wedding season I have not had any issues that have made me want to upgrade to go to Sigma or to go to the Sony option. I've been extremely happy with my results. All my clients have been absolutely over the moon, and I am probably going to be sticking with Samyang for a very, very long time, unless somebody brings out something else reasonable price that's better. But obviously I can't see that happening. So from personal experience of obviously shooting through my wedding season, they've definitely performed far better than I expected them to. So like I say, there are plenty of reviews out there of people bigging them up, and there's plenty of people out there saying that they're crap. I would happily and honestly say that they probably sit in the middle. I'm not gonna lie and feed you bull and start saying, oh yeah, they're the best thing since sliced bread. They're not. That's the whole reason why you can pay a lot more and get better lenses. But again, then you're paying a lot more for the price that you pay and the results that you get. I cannot complain. I cannot argue with anyone. I can argue with people. Those that really slate them, I think it's extremely unfair. I'm not sure if they've gone out and shot with them through a full season, whether they dare risk it. But obviously for me, as a wedding photographer, I'm absolutely over the moon. I absolutely love my 85mm. I really, really do. That stays at 1.4 more than anything else. I absolutely love that lens. And then the 35mm side of it for during the day of your normal go-to documentary parts is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, they are fantastic lenses, and I have been extremely happy using them and shooting with them. Now yes, depending on who you are, you may have seen that I've had images featured by Samyang, and I've worked alongside Samyang on my workshops. That doesn't mean I'm going to be biased, because I am one of them people where I prefer to be honest. And obviously if that gets me in the wrong position with Samyang and they no longer want to work with me, that's my own fault. But I will never lie, and I will always tell the truth to people. And I shoot with I paid for these myself. This is not sponsored by Samyang. They've given me nothing to do this. I'm just happy to do them for them, because I do genuinely believe in the company and their products. I've been extremely happy with them. Absolutely over the moon. There's nothing that I can... Oh yeah, okay, we'll take a step back. So while we're being honest and we're talking about things, obviously shooting at 1.4 now on both the 85 and the 35, when you go further to the edges of the frame, then 100% your images become a hell of a lot softer. They do not stay as sharp as they are at the centre of the frame. Now if you're like me, I do move my focal points. I will compose my shots in a certain way, which will mean that I need to change and move my focal point. Now I take that risk because I'm used to shooting them with them now, and I'll know that I'll make sure I fire off enough shots, one of them will be sharp enough. So once you've learned shooting at 1.4 and you've learned using the lenses that you've got, it's the same as anything when you're working with technology. You've just got to learn to adapt to the way they work. So yes, they are softer and the hit rate is not as good towards the edges of the frame, but I'd imagine it's like that with pretty much any lens, if I'm honest. You do get a little bit of chromatic aberration, or however you say that. I'm not the most illiterate person for getting lingo correct, but if that's what you say, then they do suffer from it a little bit. But again, it's not massive. It's not something that you're going to start getting really frustrated over, so that doesn't bother me one bit either. Weather sealant, I think that's one of them things where you're someone who's going to be either overprotective or not fussed about it. The way I am, I've got the silicone bodies protecting the cameras. If it starts smashing it down with rain, I don't want to be out there regardless of how good they can be in the weather. So again, weather sealant, features like that, I'm not that fussed about. For me, overall, when it comes to equipment, it's the actual outcome and the performance. Now, focus wise, they were great. Eye focus is absolutely fantastic. Face detection is absolutely fantastic. And like I say, it comes down to it. They produce really, really good sharp images that I've been very, very happy with. If you're thinking about getting Samyang lenses, I highly recommend them, especially for the money. If you want to drop me a message and chat to me about Samyang lenses, you're more than welcome to. If you want some raw images to have a look at how sharp they are straight out of camera, again, drop me a message, you're more than welcome to them. I'm probably going to stick a few images on the end of this video just so that you can see, and they'll probably all be shot between 1.4 and f2. Hopefully it's been a good little video for you.